All right, welcome back. Another lesson today on something that I've seen really slow writers down, really throw kind of a wrench in it. And it's probably like the cousin to writer's block, but it's it's not the same. And I wanted to go over this because it can be something that really trips people up. So, I call it overthinking, overanalyzing, overcritiquing. What this is, it's like there's a portion of your story, there's a scene or a moment, and you've written it and you're like, this thing is falling flat. Or you have a hard time really jumping into it. It's like you can see it in your head, but you can't get it on paper because you just don't know how to say it. You just don't know how to get it across. Or it's just so important and so deep and meaningful that you're afraid that you're not going to be able to say this in a way that gives that moment justice, or that person or that thing, whatever you're writing about. You just feel so deeply about it and it has such deep meaning that it's really very intimidating trying to give it words, trying to give it life through your writing. So you start overthinking and overanalyzing. Should I do it like this? And should I use all of this, metaphor and imagery and this and that? And then you don't move forward because you're stumped. You're stopping yourself. You're overthinking. You're overreaching. So this may or may not have happened to you, but I wanted to do this quick little video to kind of help prepare you and hopefully just give you some kind of tips and tricks that might actually be really effective just in general to try. So here's a couple things that I've done that some of my clients and other writers have done that have been effective. So with a particular moment or a particular memory or whatever it is, scene, if you're struggling to put yourself into it or get it out or know exactly how to say, literally close your eyes and start typing. Now, it may not be, don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about grammar at this point, which is kind of lesson number 0. Let me back up. Just write. Just write. Don't worry about how you're saying it. Get it out. The point is to get it out and not judge it. This is a judgment-free zone. You need to just put it on paper, walk away from it for a while, and you can come back and edit later. So one thing that I do frequently is just close my eyes and feel into it. Just put myself back in that moment. Put myself into that situation and just start writing the words that come to my head as I think about it. And of course, I open my eyes and there's all sorts of red squiggly lines under every word, but that's okay. We got the words out. That's okay. So just let it flow and don't think about it. Shut your brain off. If that is tricky for you, try putting on some music in the background, low, not blazing or anything, and maybe do some music without lyrics, but something that, or maybe with lyrics, but something you're really familiar with. So you don't even have to think about the words to know the song. It's just like very second nature to you. So you're not really concerned about the words. You're not tuning into the lyrics. But this is going to distract your brain. It's going to be one of those little kind of over here brain, check this out over here brain while you're doing the writing. Your brain is going to kind of be a little bit distracted and it can't overthink on one thing when it's trying to think about 2 things at once. It's just like, no, too much. So kind of giving your brain a little bit of a multitask without being too distracting. You may have to play with this, adjust it, like some music works better than others, or maybe it's TV or a white noise machine or something that kind of gets you out of your head a little bit and just lets you write and not worry about how it's feeling or flowing or looking or saying or doing whatever. So that can be really effective for some people. Other people have really done well with speaking these things. For me, I do my best processing. I do my best writing and writing. I don't feel like I actually speak the way that I sound like in my head. I know that sounds weird, but the way I sound in my head comes out in my writing a lot better. But you could be the opposite. You could be like, hey, I have this thought in my head, and the way I verbalize it is always so much better than the way I get it down on paper, because you judge every single word as you go on. You can't judge every word as they're coming out of your mouth. For someone like me, I speak much faster than I think. I am always frequently speaking before I think about it. So open up your voice app and just talk. Talk about it. Pretend you're talking to someone, or even call a friend and record the conversation and transcribe it later. I have an actual call recording app on my phone that I use for client sessions when I need to capture something. So it's really effective if you are that type of person where you love how you can verbalize something and that feels more real and authentic and more connected or closer to what you really want it to look like on the page. So flip that around. Give yourself a little chat and somehow transcribe it at some point later, but just let it flow. You're just chatting with a friend, or you're just dear diary, you're just journaling. No big deal. You're just talking in your phone by yourself in a room. So put the pressure off of you. These words don't even exist on paper. They just don't. So another thing is, again, kind of like what I've said, just journal, write it very informally. Take it off, like if you're crafting your book in, Microsoft Word or some word processing app, take it offline, take it off screen. Get some paper, put a pen in your hand, write it out, old school. Don't even get a pencil. Use a pen. You can't erase. You're just writing. It's no big deal. You're not going back and erasing and crossing things out. You're just writing. The exercise is just to allow yourself to be in that moment and not judge, and just allow yourself to vent and say the things, even if none of it ends up in your scene. But what you need to do is make sure that you get out of your own way to capture this thing or this moment or this feeling that might be very intangible and very difficult to capture. And later you can go back and analyze it. But once it's captured, and you don't have to worry about it from then. So these are a couple exercises. And again, this may or may not apply to you. This may or may not be something you struggle with, but I definitely use the eyes closed technique quite frequently, especially if I'm not sure how to really get into something. I just close my eyes, take some deep breaths, think about this scene or this person or this place or whatever it is, and just let the words flow. And sometimes then afterwards I'll go back and rearrange things and, break it all apart and put it back together. But it's much easier to do that when you have something to break apart and put together. So this is just a fun short video. It's hopefully something to give you a little bit more to think about and to keep you jumping into those moments of, I'm not even sure how to say this. That's kind of where this applies. I'm not even sure how to say this or how to get it out. All right, so let me know what you think about this. Are there other things that you've tried that have been really helpful for you in this type of situation? And if so, I would love to hear about them, and I'd love for you to share with the group to pass on the value. Otherwise, let me know what you think, and if you try any of these, if they work, I'd love to hear that as well. And I will see you in the next video.